In this lesson, we're going to look at units and Milliequivalents. So recall, if we say U100, that corresponds to what? That corresponds to 100 units of medication per 1 milliliter. So we want to again be able to convert from units to milliliters. So if our directions say give 40 units of U100, so we want to convert that to milliliters. Goal, convert to milliliters. So we are starting with 40 units. We want to convert that to milliliters, but you can see what we're told. We're told 100 units corresponds to 1 milliliter. We need units to cancel, so let's put units in the denominator. Let's put milliliters in the numerator. And we're told that 100 units corresponds to 1 milliliter. So if that's the case, you'll notice that units will cancel. Milliliters is left. 40 divided by 100 is 0.4 milliliters. So to give 40 units of a U100 would correspond to 0.4 milliliters. So this time let's look at U500. We may have insulin or a similar medication that is given that way. That would correspond to 500 units of medication per 1 milliliter. So if we wanted to say give 80 units of U500, and then our goal is to convert to milliliters, how are we going to do that? Well, we're giving 80 units. So we want units to cancel, so we want units in the denominator. We want milliliters in the numerator. Now what is this saying? U500 says we have 500 units per 1 milliliter. So in this instance, the units will cancel. We are left with milliliters. So doing our simplification here, 80 divided by 500 will be 0.16. So that's what we're going to want to do here. We're going to want to administer 0.16 milliliters. Our next discussion will be Milliequivalents. Or MEQ. These are relatively small amounts that are typically added to a liter. So if a bag is hung and medication is delivered, that's one way for us to determine how much that is going to be used. If we say 154 milliequivalents of sodium per liter, what does that mean? This means we have 154 thousandths which of course would be 0.154. We have 154 thousandths of an equivalent weight of sodium in 1 liter of a normal saline solution. So we're going to want to go ahead and find out what the MEQ volume is going to be. So the example we see in the textbook, ordered 36 milliequivalents of IV fluids. The medication label tells us 3 milliequivalents per milliliter. And the goal is, how many milliliters do you add to the IV fluids? So you can see that this is a relatively straightforward way for us to do unit conversions. We're ordering 36 milliequivalents. And again, it's a small unit. But we're going to convert milliequivalents to milliliters. And what they're telling us is we have 3 milliequivalents per 1 milliliter. So we'll put milliliters on top, we'll put milliequivalents downstairs. And what this is telling us is that we have 3 milliequivalents per 1 milliliter. So you'll notice that milliequivalents cancels, and we can see what the amount to administer will be. 36 divided by 3 is simply 12 milliliters. Let's take a look at another example. So this time we are going to order 8.5 milliequivalents of magnesium sulfate. The label tells us magnesium sulfate, 8.12 milliequivalents per 100 milliliters. So the question is, how many milliliters should we administer? So we can see that we are ordering 8.5 milliequivalents. We want to convert that to milliliters, so we'll put milliequivalents in the denominator, milliliters in the numerator, and this is telling us 8.12 milliequivalents in 100 milliliters. So you'll notice that milliequivalents cancels. We're left with milliliters. So if we do our multiplication, what does that give us? 8.5 times 100 divided by 8.12. And the result is 104.7 approximately milliliters. Let's do one more question. Ordered epinephrine, 10 micrograms per kilogram body weight. patient weight is 35 kilograms. It's available in a 1 to 1,000 solution. And the question we're going to ask is how many milliliters should we administer? Now, we need to see what 1 to 1,000 1 to 1,000 solution means. So that's 1 gram of medication per 1,000 milliliters. So we have quite a bit to work with here. We need 10 micrograms per kilogram. And we can see that that's what we're ordering. So we're ordering 10 micrograms per kilogram. But we can go ahead and convert that to micrograms just by multiplying by the 35 kilograms. So if we do that, we are now in terms of micrograms. But I think we need to convert micrograms to grams. And there are 1,000 milligrams in a gram and 1 million micrograms in 1 gram. And then we're going to convert this thing to milliliters. How many milliliters should we administer? So we want grams to go away. We want milliliters to be left. Grams on the bottom, milliliters on top. And if that's the case, what can we say? We have 1 gram of medication in 1,000 milliliters. So 1 gram in 1,000 milliliters. Then everything should cancel. Let's do our computation and see what we get. So we should administer 0.35 milliliters of medication. And that will conclude this lesson.